Hey, Rick and Morty fans, we're back for another season, season 9. Well, the season premiere just came on. You guys are going to be rather disappointed what I'm about to say. First off, let's talk about who's returning. Evil Morty has returned. Yes, the Morty with an eye patch, who talks back to Rick, lacks a stutter most of the time. I say most of the time. Apparently, there's a collective that is basically trying to wipe out the multiverse, simulated to the rest of itself. So, apparently, Evil Morty has been blackmailing Rick to going on adventures with him. Some of the stuff is a lot of fun. The action in this episode is excellent. I particularly love the death match between Evil Morty and Rick, especially when they get to the bunker. However, this comes to my biggest gripe with this episode, and basically Dan Harmon's style of writing. The idea of continuality. Yeah, unfortunately, putting logic in an episode show like Rick and Morty is kind of important. It kind of set itself away apart from the other series on television. There's no rolling timeline. A lot of the events that happened in previous episodes do affect you in this episode. Like, for instance, we had a hive mind here. Wait a minute, Rick dealt with this twice. Remember Unity from episode season 2? Why wouldn't he reference her at any point? Also, remember how Morty seemed to have contingencies for every little problem? Like, every time Rick came out with something, he was always 3 steps ahead. Where was this episode? I'm not kidding you. They really dumbed down Evil Morty. And that's my biggest gripe. It seemed like they forgot that, Evil Morty's supposed to be 3 steps ahead of everybody. In this one, he's 4 steps behind everybody. He might as well just be Morty. I don't even know who this character is anymore. Why would he set himself up with the machine? Why don't we just not actually build it or something? Or make that just a hologram? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm about to also go to the other problem with the episode, the ending. But before that, what about the family? Why is the family suddenly kicking him? He looks exactly like Morty. Well, he's not their Morty. Yeah, there's Morty! He's a replacement! He's from another dimension! And now finally to the last piece of problems from leaps of logic. The Langoliers. The time cops. I'm going to call them Langoliers because, quite frankly, it's exactly what they are. Did they kind of forgot what happened in season 2? The season 2 premiere? Rick assaulted them? Why would Rick call the cops ever? He doesn't like government. He doesn't like police. That's always one of the few things I used to love about Rick C-137. He hates the idea of that type of structure. Have some more ad-libbing saying like, yeah, normally I wouldn't do that, but for you I'd make exception. No, they didn't. They make it seem like something he would do. Granted, Rick's a pretty petty person, but there's still no explanation why he would call the cops. Or in this case, the Langoliers. Now to finally score this episode, yeah, you can see I have a lot of problems. The writers here were just not really on par with it should have been. You brought back Evil Morty. Great idea. I have no problem with Rick beating Evil Morty. But at least make it like an ending. That makes sense. Evil Morty going to jail. How does that make sense? Unless you got something long term with him involving prison. Like, let's just say he does what Taurus Bowler from Darkwing Duck did in the premiere of that series, where he's running an entire criminal empire outside of prison. So I'm going to conclude it right here. This episode was really, really towards the bottom. And it only took a couple of different changes where it could have been one of the best episodes of the series. Anyway, we got 9 more of these episodes. Till then, bye.